to make predictions, predictive, machine learning, prescriptive as well, AI. And we talked a little bit about this when we talked about mortgage defaults. I don't see how you would have ever come up with that unless you were collecting data and you could analyze it and figure out that, oh, people with multiple cell phones maybe shouldn't be trusted as much as people with one cell phone. They talk about different things in predictive analytics here. So let's talk. One of the things they mentioned is dynamic pricing. You've seen this for sure. So let's let the group to tell me about dynamic pricing. And let me pick the group. So I picked 7. I picked 9. Pick group 4. 4. 4. Perfect. How many are you?
3.
Perfect. Tell me about dynamic pricing. Give me a situation where you've had dynamic pricing, where you've seen it. And you can think about it as you're walking up to the car, or do you need a few minutes? Oh, that's a 4?
So, according to me, I don't have much idea, but what I'm thinking dynamic pricing is like where we can see the price go up and down. Like for example, in a sale of any kind of product sale, if some prices go lower and everybody likes to go that product on a sale. For example, it's like flight tickets. Generally, flight tickets are in higher rates, but somehow if in off season, if they see like lower price or anything, they book it. So as of my thinking is that dynamic pricing.
My name is Mahima Patel. Same as my friend told the low price and high price. I have also same example such as hotel bookings. Whenever we check on the bookings, sometimes we see that low price, sometimes we see that high price. So that is it.
Great, thank you so much. So, I like the fact that you guys incorporated dynamic, which means changing. The issue is that when you have sales, usually they last. Where I've seen dynamic pricing, has anybody here used, well, stocks for sure? Usually. Yeah. If you want to go right now and buy a stock, the price at this second will not be the same price. Why? Because there's always constant demand. So it's always updating. So stocks are great. What's another good one?
Concert tickets.
Airplane tickets, it's sort of a little different. They call it revenue management, which is sort of dynamic pricing. It's not wrong. Yes. Well, now you're sort of talking any asset prices. What about, anybody here taking Uber? Yeah. Do the prices, are they always the same? No. I want to ride? No, right? What do they depend on?
The weather.
Yes.
How many people are driving? How the demand, weather, right? So that's definitely dynamic pricing. You do not know. It's not like I can tell you the price of that Uber ride that I took yesterday will be the exact same price today. So this is dynamic pricing. Are there applications? Yeah. The issue with dynamic pricing is that people tend to think it's unfair. Where's an issue where they would think it's unfair? Oh, you want to go see the World Cup. Not me. You want to see the World Cup. No problem. By the way, you guys can see. You don't have to be tortured. You want to see the World Cup? So the problem is they sold all the tickets to a bunch of resellers. So now they buy them here. So now people are saying, well, that's unfair. You can make the argument that no, it's actually super fair, because, well, when the resellers have it, then I would argue that it's unfair because they're getting the profit. But should the price of the tickets change? Should the price of the ticket be fixed, or should it go to the person who wants to see it the most? So, I want to see what country did we mention in here? Brazil, they're out, so we can't talk about Brazil. Ecuador, I don't even think they were in there.
No.
Yeah.
We were, but
They were? Okay.
Colombia.
Colombia, are they still in?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see Colombia. I really want to see. So the price on the ticket says $450. But if you really want to see Colombia and you're willing to pay $1,000, shouldn't you have access to the ticket because you're willing to pay more? Or should the price be fixed? By the way, there's no right answer here. Why should it be fixed? Okay, so you're saying that everybody should have access to it at a certain, but what if I can't afford $450? Right, like, what makes the $450 fair versus the $1,000? We know there's no more honorable organization than the issue is, especially with dynamic pricing, a lot of people say, well, it's not really ethical, right? Because you're basically taking advantage of people at their most vulnerable. I really need an Uber ride, those things, so now I gotta pay a lot more. So there's gonna be ethics that are gonna be involved, and that's why the first module is there as well. I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong, right? What I'm saying is you have to consider the ethical considerations of dynamic pricing. They use this all the time too, right? If you go, one of my grocery stores that I go to, if you have a student ID, you get 10% off on Tuesdays. I have no idea why they offer this. They're trying to get students in, do students go there, like why is this offered? Why 10%? Like again, it must be making them more money than not doing it, but you know, I'm not complaining. I think it's nice for students to get a break, but I just find it weird that on a Tuesday they're gonna give you 10% off. What if you really need milk on a Thursday? Why can't you get the 10% off then, right? Like I find it interesting, but I'm not passing judgment on that. Oh, 7 Ps, used to be 4. Has anybody here taken a marketing course before or no? Have you ever heard of the 4 Ps?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is, if you take a standard marketing course, they're gonna talk about the 4 Ps, which product, what you're selling. Price, which most people focus on. Place is distribution, logistics, sometimes we call that inventory management. It's more operations. And then promotion is what most people consider marketing, is advertising, letting people know. So these were the classic 4. So these were based more on goods. When you talk about services, they talk about people, process, and physical evidence. How well the staff is. So if you're going to get a massage, you're going to want to make sure that, first of all, the person is probably certified, that they have a clean environment, a physical presence, that the process, that they give you a change room, so that all these things, so these are more service related. So they added 3 more Ps and now it's become the 7 Ps. Just know them, and basically what they mean. Place is distribution, just know those again for the course. And if you guys come at 8:15, my colleague's actually teaching a marketing course in the Master of Management, so if you guys can come, well, I don't know, you probably can't, there's probably no room. You take a marketing course, and then you come here, and then you can, you know, turn it to 4 hours and do marketing analytics after. Ethical things in marketing, so this is big. One of the things I get all the time from my email that I can't get rid of. I've got this corporation, for some reason, because of my title, operations professor, they seem to think that I make purchasing decisions in the company. So I keep getting these emails from this weird company trying to sell me stuff, right? And they have an unsubscribe button. Has anybody, do you hit the unsubscribe buttons or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, and maybe it's because I'm cynical, or because I think those unsubscribe buttons are a test to see that I'm there, and they'll just keep sending me stuff. So I don't unsubscribe, although this one, because they were sending me every day, I did, and they never stopped, so I don't know what to do. Now they know I exist.
Sometimes you start to receive older kind of email.
Yeah. So I generally don't hit the unsubscribe buttons, not because I don't want to stop subscribing, it's because I just don't trust them. And this is why marketers have an issue, and this is why ethical stuff is on there. So I I did it one time. So they talk about transparency and honesty, consent and choice. Yeah, one of the things I found interesting is organ donations. Do you want to be an organ donor or not, right? So some countries have really high rates of organ donations, organ donors, and some have really low. Turns out, do you know what the difference is for those countries? So why would you, and again, don't look this up. It's no fun if you look this up. Why do you think some countries would have really, the population's really high rate of saying I want to be an organ donor, and some would have really low?
Trust, education.
Okay, all reasonable. But it turns out that no, it's even simpler than that. It's how they set up the question. So it's like, do you want to opt in or do you want to opt out? The opt-in countries, very low. The opt-out countries, very high. Most people, I don't want to think about what happens when I've, been in a car accident now, my brains are all scrambled on the side of the road, No, I'm not thinking of that. So it turns out if it's opt-in, tends to be low, opt-out tends to be high. So consent and choice, transparency, value exchange, all things that you have to consider in the ethics of marketing. Oh, so respect for privacy, children's data, fairness, cultural respect, emotional use. Love this argument. Why should you have privacy if you've done nothing wrong? What do you care? What do you think of that statement? Do you agree with it? Not or do you disagree with it? All right, let me tell you. I definitely disagree with this. I don't think the government should know anything that they don't have to. The whole, if you have done nothing wrong, well, what if you have some kind of medical condition? Should medical records be, and then a potential employer goes and screens, oh, you have like a 50% higher chance of having a heart attack, so I don't want to hire you, right? No, there's stuff that, that shouldn't be known, that doesn't need to be known. I don't think that, I think privacy laws should exist. These are definitely being eroded. Children's data protection, this one is tricky too, and we'll talk about it in fact because I do a little accountability, sure. Group activity. I got 3 situations here. So in your groups, discuss one of these, not all 3, just one that you're interested in and what you think about it. So, your car insurance provider is saying, hey, you're a good driver, or we think you're a good driver, we're going to give you a discount, but we want to install a monitoring device in the vehicle. Social media sites. Social media is ruining children. We want to age restrict it to 16 plus. You and a friend are discussing patio furniture. As soon as you do, all of a sudden in your social media feed, you start seeing advertisements for patio furniture. This one happened, not to me. Basically, we don't have social media except for LinkedIn, but it happens to my wife all the time. This one they're actually talking about right now. I think they've actually implemented this in Britain. And this one, my car insurance provider has offered me to say, hey, we want to give you a better discount rate. Will you allow us to monitor you? So discuss this one. One of the 3, just what your opinions are on it. And then I'm really predicting it.
如果你愿意在汽车上安装一个驾驶监控设备，保险公司会考虑降低你的保费。讨论点：保费更便宜，鼓励安全驾驶，保险公司可以更准确的评估风险。司机和奖励。Your car insurance provider will consider lowering your premium if you install a monitor device in your vehicle. Should social media age restriction? 在社交媒体应该有年龄限制吗？有吧？现在不是有什么未成年保护法吗？就还有人discussion to punish social media seeds begin expire as for different 发每次给5分钟讨论时间。现在我们可以讨论。这是要求每选一个话题进行讨论，并在5分钟之内 presentation。老师待会儿让我们上台。找我的小组，你们俩决定吧。我们3个人一个组，3个人一个小组。害怕待会儿点到我的，那就完蛋了。在开空调。再过来吧。So now we need to choose the topic. Choose which one? Which one? One, two, three. Number 3. Okay. You have different. Number 3 干嘛？买家具。哎呀，你和朋友讨论庭院家具之后，社交媒体开始向你推荐家具广告。啊，这个怎么说？Maybe Google, maybe 你可能是用谷歌搜索手机监听我们讲话。可能有浏览记录，同一个 WiFi， 同一个 IP 地址，好友行为，广告算法会这样吗？就是我们讲什么，然后平台就给我们推什么。优点，广告更符合兴趣，可以找到买的商品，节省时间，感觉隐私被侵犯的缺点。That social media listening to us, maybe social media listening to us. There is no clear evidence that social media constantly listen to conversation, personality, personalized ads are often based on social history, personalized 在讨论，在小组讨论，准备一下，不然待会儿教授点到我们组就得上去。我上去我就只能把手机对着那个窗户了，有白的坐在前面的。哪一个最容易讲？对呀，我觉得第二个最容易讲，选那个社交媒体年龄限制。这个正方观念和反方观念都很容易想。选家居这个我还真不知道该怎么讲。老师给我们一个问题，他说你和你的朋友讨论庭院家具，然后呢，社交媒体就开始向你推荐广告，你讨论一下优缺点，就是应该是这个意思。老师让我们讨论这个情况，他给我们5分钟的时间，不能看，其实等我下课放学的时候吧。现在在加拿大，social media listen to us. Grow history, location, app use, data that users have agreed to share. 可能有其他用户分享的数据。Number 1.
Car insurance provider, nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody.
Okay, yeah, you chose this one?
No.
What do you think?
第一个问题是保费的问题。
I know they will take a lot of information because it's an app, it's an application, you know. But if the price improves next year, it's okay.
So your colleague said, hey, you know what? I know they're stealing information on me, but you know what? If it lowers the rate, I'll take it. Which is one option. This was offered to me, it's been offered to me many times, and I told them to go bounce it. There's just no way I'm going to let somebody and it's not like I don't think that they're not monitoring me anyways. This is the funny part. I know I'm still getting monitored. The best way to do it is to get my cell phone off in like a lead box probably in the trunk of the car. So you know what? Maybe I'm being stupid here because I'm being monitored anyway, so maybe I should get the lower rate. I used to do this before really technology was to the point it's at today. People always used to complain when their children were learning how to drive here in Canada at 16, I don't know the other countries, but used to insure the boys and the girls. The boys' rate used to be always a lot higher than the girls' rate. Makes absolute sense. You've seen teenage boys. It's riskier. It's just is. So people would complain. It's not fair. It's not fair. You shouldn't, you know. So the insurance company said, that's no problem. We agree with you. It's not fair. But they didn't roll over the boys' rate. They just raised the girls' rate. So be careful what you wish for, right? Yeah. So maybe I'm being silly. Maybe I should allow them to monitor me since I'm being monitored everywhere anyways. But I just said no. This one here, 16 years plus. People discuss this one? Nobody discuss this one? Really? Good idea, bad idea?
Good idea.
Good idea. Yeah. Of course, it's a good idea. You want to protect kids. Social media is messing them up. So this is the one that I think is the most dangerous because, yeah, it's a good idea. And in principle, I agree with this, but this is not what they're going to use it for. What do you think they're going to do by this? They're going to require everybody to have ID in order to use social media. So yeah, they'll stop to 16. Oh, Vanessa, what did you post? Ah, that's good. And now they're going to be able to track everybody with everything. So this is a backdoor to find out who you are. And they always tell you, no, we're being really nice here. We're protecting the children. Yeah, that's not what they're doing.
Because you have to share your ID and
everybody will have to share their ID, and then there's no privacy at all. This is literally trying to kill privacy. And then we've had a couple gentlemen here discussing this one. Has this happened to you? You discussed it?
Yeah. Every day.
We're okay with this or no?
No. Well, depends. Yeah, for example, show you what you need. Yeah, I was talking about an example like in that shit that once I wanted to buy a TV, so I started seeing like Samsung TV, and then I saw a lot of ads, different prices and everything. Yeah, that way is functional, but the other way is not.
every time when you install an app in your mobile, request you to allow your microphone or camera. When you allow it, even if you don't use your app, it's active. The way that you have to use your apps is allowing every microphone and location, everything, and you use just the microphone when you use it.
So it sounds like people are like, yeah, I know, but it's a pain in the butt. So that's sort of like where we are right now. So
yeah, it's not happening with physical, it's always allowed with microphone.
I'm sure they'll get around it anyway. The one that the recent example they came up with was, I think they're called ring
被限流
cameras.
了。
So they had this woman who got kidnapped, and they found her because of the ring cameras. But here's the thing. The woman, the daughter, set it up. And again, I don't know all the details here, so I might be getting this a little bit wrong. She said, I don't want Google to store my images on their servers. You can pay for an extra service where you can store it on the Google servers and retrieve it later in case somebody breaks into your house. She did not opt in for that service. Well, the woman gets kidnapped, Google releases this, so even when you don't opt in, they're still doing it. So, and I know you're saying, I said no. It's wonderful you said no. I don't care. I said no to the unsubscribe. They keep sending me emails. What am I going to do? What did this company, like, you know? So, this is what the ethical issues here. So if you go into the marketing field, you're probably not going to be the most popular person at the party. That's all I'm going to say, because you have all these ethical issues. I'm not saying that marketing isn't good. Again, at its ideal, if you see a need, and you can respond with a solution, I think marketing is a great field. Where marketing crosses the line is where they try to manipulate or they just do things that are unethical. And so that is module 1. Any questions on the material? So what you need to know is basically that whole cascade stuff. Just take notes. You're going to see these, they're very simple questions in the quiz in a couple weeks. You're going to need to know the UMM, the Unified Model, I don't even know the names are, Media Mix, Multi-Touch, and Unified Model Marketing, blah, blah, blah. You need to know them, traditional versus modern, all these things. Just go in, take notes, you'll be fine. The questions are not tricky, they're straightforward. As long as you read it, you'll be good. The other 50% will be next week, we'll cover when we do R. I'll mention again, before you come to class next week, install R in our studio so that we can just get going. And now we're going to actually go to module 3, which is research methods. And the material that we're going to talk about here is technical, I'm not going to lie. Has anybody here, hopefully, you guys have taken a statistics course?
Last one.
Is it here? Oh, principal statistics? Is that what it's called?
No, not this semester.
So, okay, so I'm going to talk, like, again, they don't really build it up. They talk about things, like even next week, we're going to get into statistical concepts. I'm going to talk about some stuff here where if you don't get it all, that's okay. Use the internet for more stuff or for more guidance. We're going to talk about sample size, confidence intervals, hypothesis testing.
Oh, we had in lab first semester.
Perfect, so then you guys will know, and then you guys will say, this is too easy, go harder. So we'll talk a little bit about it. Hopefully, it's straightforward, but we'll go through a couple of examples. So, like I said, the medium mix model here, which if we were in normal week 1, I would release it now, you'll work on it, I'll release after the class. Let's look at module 3. Okay, so this is research methods. This is if I was doing this standalone, so we've already done attendance. Purpose of research, probably not going to go through all these slides. I'm just going to highlight the things, and I want to get into the technical material, because I do want to explain that in a little bit of depth. What is the purpose of research? You can read that online, on Cascade. Different types of research, qualitative versus quantitative. Quantitative is numbers. Qualitative is quality or subjectiveness. So that's the main distinction there. This sort of ties into module 1. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this will be a lot easier than if I would ask, well, you'll see. I can rephrase the question. So we're entering the 1950s. Millions of women are re-entering or entering the workforce because it's after the war. By 1950 now, over 30% of married women were employed in a significant job for pre-war levels. You're an entrepreneur, so you're in the 1950s now. What goods or services do you predict this society will need within the next decade? So a big shift has happened. It used to be that most women were staying at home. Now, a good chunk of women are starting working. What services do you think the society might need that as a marketer you could provide? Well, you would identify, you wouldn't provide as a marketer. As a marketing agency, what services do you think that society might need? And the good thing is, it's the 1950s, so these were implemented, so you should know some of them that happened.
Babysitting services.
That's a big one, right? By the way, if you're in the 1950s, you're probably not thinking this. Today, yeah, of course. Now, you have kids, both of you work, you need daycare, you need babysitting services. That's another big one. Hey, you know what? Turns out that when both people work, it's a real pain in the butt to cook, right? To come home and now you got another job to do. So maybe frozen meals, right? So, well, it looks obvious now because we've lived through it. Now I'm going to change the question. We're in 2026. What services could you provide today that we'll need in the next 10 years? And now this is hard because this hasn't happened yet, right? But this is where really, if you're a marketer, you have to think, what is today? Where is a need that I can provide? And honestly, I don't have an answer here. Do you guys know of a need today that we need to solve within the next 10 years? And if you can think of it, probably don't even say it. Just write it down. Leave the program, go start a business, and just become incredibly rich, and then leave this behind. But any ideas?
Data storage.
Data storage, but doesn't that already exist? Because now they're building out all these data farm or data servers. It turns out that they're not making any money, but they can sell the storage, no? So is that not already being addressed by the hyperscalers? I mean, I don't know.
The microwave that works the opposite way at the same time.
What does that even mean?
I mean, you know, in the microwave you can get something hot in 1 minute.
Yeah.
But there is no machine or something that you can get something cold in 1 minute.
Why is there a need?
Oh, maybe. For example, let's say you have a body in your house and you don't have enough space to storage beers or something. And you want to get them cold like right away for people at home.
This is a need in the 1950s too. You've thought of a problem this man's time.
I think it doesn't exist.
No, I don't know of any. That's good. Okay. So, all I'm going to say is, from the future, you look back, babysitting services, frozen food, super easy. To come up with the idea at the time, very challenging. Even if I were asked today, 2026, what's the need going forward? I don't know. Because if I knew, I wouldn't be teaching. I'd be coming up with that, and I wouldn't be here.
Battery disposal.
Battery disposal? Yeah, those.
Vehicles.
Yeah, those go to the scrap yards. I don't know what they do with them when you get them there. I know you can drop them off. For vehicles, they could be like $5 for the battery disposal, which isn't much. And I don't know how they process them afterwards. That I have no idea. Research design. Again, you guys can read this. Group activity. What did I say here? Oh yeah. So this is to tie into a little bit of let's see. You got data from Parks in Canada. Statistics Canada shows that monthly ice cream sales in Canada increased the number of drowning deaths. So now, as the Prime Minister of Canada, well, ice cream sales and drowning deaths, I'm going to ban all ice cream at the beach. Good idea? Bad idea. But the data tells me, right? I'm going to draw it for you. I don't know why you're just kind of bad idea. Look. Ice cream sales, and I go up. Drowning people. I have a positive correlation. Well, should I not be banning ice cream? There you go. So that's what this is. Just because two variables are related doesn't mean that they cause each other. It's probably not the ice cream sales that are causing the drowning deaths. It's probably the nicer weather that people could swim, right? So there was, I can't remember what they call that, specious factor or something like that. We're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk about regression a little bit today. I think so. If not, hypothesis testing, all these kind of things come up. But one thing is, we're going to usually plot two variables. Drowning. You thought we're looking for a relationship. Again, because there's a relationship, doesn't mean that there's cause. They talk about different data collection methods. Surveys, again, you can read on that. This one I find interesting. Obviously, everybody here purchases online, some things on Amazon or no? Yeah. Do you read the reviews?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm really interested in this one. It's just a hard no. I'm not reading anything. You don't tell me anything. Why do you read that?
I don't because I prefer to.
他问你在线上买东西的时候，就是买家评论对你的决定有没有影响？当然有，这不是我做电商的。
What I see is that sometimes Amazon, for example, it's like frequently returned. If I see this, I just go. But I don't go like comment by comment.
No, well, and a lot of you said, yeah, you read the reviews. I do that too. Because I'm like, well, you know what, I want to buy something that's good. Let me see, hopefully it's got a lot of reviews. Again, do I think they're lying to me? Sure, some of them are using bots.
Yeah.
Right? Like again, I just don't trust anything. It's just me. But, do I leave a review? Very rarely.
I don't.
So now I'm thinking, here's the problem, right? So I want people like me to review it, but I don't review it. So that means people like me don't review it. So why am I reading the reviews, right? So am I wasting my time? And according to, what's your name? Alberto, he's saying, yeah, you just gotta live your life. You can't read comments.
Yeah.
Maybe Alberto.
And sometimes there are products that some people say that are trash, but I would like to.
So out of curiosity, this is in general. When you buy something, do you leave a review?
Yes.
Not some, no, but I'm not saying sometimes. In general, more times than not. Who does that? That's the one time I did leave a review. But not on Amazon. I had a contractor come to my house, and they put in a hot water tank. Okay. Put the hot water tank, and it started leaking at the top. So I'm like calling them up. This is the weekend. I said, hey, there's a problem with my hot water tank. I want you to send somebody. Well, nobody's working right now. I go, I don't get it, nobody's working. My hot water tank is leaking. They go, well, we can't do it until Monday. Send it on Monday. And then when workers come in, they fix it. And they go, well, why didn't you call us on the weekend for emergency service? What? I just ripped them apart. I'm like, not the workers. Anybody can make a mistake. There's no problem. You have to give people a chance to fix it. But the fact that you tried to save a dog, because you didn't want to send out an emergency scoop like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Then the owner comes in, oh, I'm sorry, but right now it's you're not. But, so that, I did leave a review that one time. Proud of that one. The company's got mostly great reviews, by the way. In fact, they're pretty good. And again, I'm not even blaming the workers, I'm blaming the people in the office. Different techniques, there's different types of sampling. You can read about these all you want. There's more. In the general, usually what we want is a random sample. Why do I want a random, why do I want a sample? I have questions that I want the answers to that I can't get. What do I want to know? For example, if I wanted everybody's favorite ice cream flavor in this class, that's pretty easy to do because there's only 33 of you. I could ask you, I can get to everybody. If I want to extend this to Canada and I want everybody's favorite ice cream, I can't ask everybody in Canada. But what I want is I want to take a sample, so I don't want to ask everybody. I want to take a certain size of people, I want to ask them the question, but I want that sample, not just a sample, right? I don't want to go to the pistachio lovers fan club and ask them their favorite flavor of ice cream because they might all say pistachio, and they're all great. In Canada, people love pistachio, and no, it turns out, like I went and it was a biased sample, right? Usually what I want is for the population, and the population can change here, I want the sample to be representative of the population. Best way to do that in general is just take a random sample. What a random sample means is everybody in the population has an equal chance of getting drawn. That's it. Are there other types of samples? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. Systemic, stratified, cluster, non-random, so on and so forth. You can read about these. But in general, what we really usually want is a random sample. And again, I'll let you read these in the cascade. So let's talk about type 1, 2, type 2 errors. Have you heard this term before, type 1 and type 2? Yeah. Perfect. Let's do a review, because this tends to be good for a review. And I'll use the example here. So you're going to trial for murder, but you didn't commit. You guys are on trial for falsely accused. What's the null hypothesis? In the court, what do they assume is true before you enter? Innocent until proven guilty. So the null hypothesis, in this case here, is not guilty. By the way, it's not that you're innocent. There's a distinction in it, right? Because there's a difference between not guilty and innocent. We're not, although I get, we're doing this more from a statistical point. I guess in the court, innocent until proven guilty. That's not what I'm doing here. In this year, I'm saying, you know what? I'm not going to convict you unless you're guilty. So my hypothesis, my null, my base I'm going to start off with is not guilty. My alternate hypothesis, guilty. This is what I have to get to. You have to get me off of this position to get to this position. If you get me to here, this is my positive case. So when we talk about a positive, it's that we get to the alternate. If we stay on the null, this is a negative. So we're sort of playing a game. Our game is that we want to get to the positive here. So we want to get to the guilty. So what happens? Well, we have 4 quadrants. We have the truth. So on the top here is the truth. So true, guilty. And true, not guilty. This is where you guys are. And then our experiment here is going to be, the experiment is going to be the jury. So the jury, so this is our experiment, decides guilty. The jury decides not guilty. Okay. You have 4 quadrants here. 2 are pretty straightforward, I would say. Jury says guilty, you are guilty. this is a true positive or a true negative? It's true positive because you got to the alternate. Well, the jury got to the alternate. The jury, and again, the positive and the negative is in terms of the experiment. So the jury says, hey, you're guilty. You are guilty. That's a true positive, which means that this year, the jury gets to not guilty. You are to not guilty. This is also true. It's a true negative. What this means is, hey, you didn't get me off the no. Okay. The jury finds you guilty, but you're not guilty. Did the jury come to a positive or to a negative? Pardon me? Did the jury got positive, right? Because that's what we care about in terms of positive and the negative is the jury. The jury said guilty, which is the positive, but it's not true. Which is a what type of error? Type 1. This we get to control in a way. We're going to say that we want, when we do these tests, not in the guilty, like when we do standard statistical tests, we're going to say what percentage of the times we're going to make a false positive. So, you guys saw this last year. If I want to be 95% confident of my results, what's the probability of a type 1 error here? 5%. Because if I'm 95% confident, that means I'm going to get a true positive, 95. That means I'm going to get a type 1 error 5%. Hey, that's too high. I don't want it to be 5%. I want it to be 1%. We can. We can change this number. That'll change our confidence interval, and we'll see that a little bit in the demonstration. So this is false positive. This means here, first of all, the jury came to a negative. But it's a false negative. What does that mean? That means you had blood on your hands, there was a knife over, not you, but somebody else. But they said, hey, you know what, there's just not enough proof. So this is a false negative. They were guilty. So this, it's called the power of the test. In general, this is a lot harder. We don't really directly measure this, but we can sort of get here doing the sample size, which we're going to talk about in a little second. I did want to go over this because type 1 and type 2 comes up all the time. I find that it is, a lot of things in statistics I find it confusing until you revisit them a couple times. But always think, the positive is the alternate. By the way, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about, let's do this here. This marker, I'm going to claim lasts for 10 hours. What's my null hypothesis and what is my alternate hypothesis? So, I'm claiming here that this marker lasts for 10 hours. What's my null hypothesis? And again, don't look this up on AI or whatever. Just, what's my null hypothesis? Or what's my alternate? Give me one or the other. So, excuse me, let me rephrase this. This marker lasts at least 10 hours. I guess it actually, that'll change it a little bit, but it doesn't matter. So what's my null hypothesis if I'm saying that this lasts at least 10, or what's my alternate?
The null is that the marker is going to last more than 10 hours.
The null is what?
The marker is going to last more than 10 hours.
That's my null or my alternate?
No.
People agree with that? No. Who doesn't agree with that? What are you saying? The null is what?
That won't be like that.
That's it. What you're trying to prove always goes into the alternate. Yes, the alternate. Always. This is what I'm trying to get to. So think of it in a court case. You're on trial. You're trying to get to this case. I'm trying to show that, and I'll call it the average length. We'll call it mu. The mu, this is how long the marker lasts, is greater than 10 hours. By the way, is this greater than 10 or is it greater than or equal to? Equal always goes in the null. Never in the alternate. So the alternate is the opposite of this. So the opposite of this is that it lasts less than or equal to 10 hours. By the way, if I had said that it's 10 hours, the null would be, so we could have done it this way. If I say that it lasts 10 hours, oh, wait a second. Oh, yeah. The null here would be mu is equal to 10 hours. Mu does not equal 10 hours. The difference here is that it becomes a two-tailed test versus a one-tailed test. Again, we don't really go into a lot of depth into the statistics here in the class from what I've seen. So if you need more help, come to office hours, go online, get the help you need. But here, this is greater than 10 hours. That's my alternate hypothesis. Okay. So now, they've got Cochrane's formula here. This is the sample size that you need in order to get the confidence intervals that you want. And we're gonna, again, I got a little spreadsheet that I'm gonna release. You guys will work through me with this. So, what does this mean? I wanna know how big the sample size is so that I can have a certain degree of confidence. We're gonna use 95%. This is the variance, so here we're gonna do a survey, a yes or no. So this is gonna be the binomial distribution. We use the binomial distribution, the variance is p times 1 minus p, this is where this is coming from. This is the variance of the binomial distribution, and this is the amount of error that we're gonna allow. Again, I'm saying a lot of stuff here, the example will make this clear. But this will tell me how big my sample size has to be so that I can get a certain level of confidence. So let's give you an example. Oh, I already did give you an example here. What's the minimum sample size that you would be required to construct a 95% confidence interval for the true population proportion with a margin of error of plus or minus 4 percentage points? Let me draw the diagram here, and then we'll actually do this. So, what I'm saying here, here's the true population. Almost all the time, you don't know what it is. You have to guess. Not guess, you do. You're going to take a sample. But let's say that we know. Here's mu. And I'll give you an example for this in a second. I'm saying that I want to go as much as 4% higher. So mu plus 4%. Remember, this is a yes-no. Do you like pistachio ice cream? Yes. A certain percentage will be here. The no will be mu minus 4%. That's going to be my interval. So from mu minus 4% to mu plus 4%. And I want to make sure that this mu falls within this range 95% of the time. That's how I'm 95% confident. So something that trips people up. I take a sample. Let's say I take a sample and I find that the pistachio ice cream is, people who like it is 27%. With a 95% confidence interval at plus or minus 4, so that would mean 27 minus 4, 23% to 27 plus 4, 31%. So I'm saying, I'm 95% confident that the true percentage of the population, which I don't know, is here. So what does that mean, that 95%? Does that mean that 95% of the time it will be in this range, 5% of the time it won't? Because it should be 100% or 0, right? So if the true population of people that like pistachio ice cream is 24%, well then it's in there. If the true population was 33%, then it's out. So what does that 95% mean? Does anybody know the answer to this or no? So what this means is this. This 95% is for running the experiment. This means that if I run the experiment 100 times, so here's mu. I'm going to come up with 100 different confidences. Why? Because it's a sample. I don't know what I'm getting a random population. Maybe the first sample is here. It's in here. Second sample, here, it's in here. Third sample, here, it's in here. Fourth sample, the true population mean is outside of this. That 95% means that I'm going to capture it 95% of the time, but 5% of the time I'm going to miss it. What type of error is that? That's a type 1 error. So that's what that confidence interval is doing. It's saying, hey, I run this experiment 100 times. I expect that I'm going to miss the true population mean in the confidence interval. I'm going to miss it 5% of the time. I'm going to capture it 95. But as soon as you take this, it's done. It's either there or it's not there. So that's what confidence interval is. And let's do an example. In fact, it's going to be the same example here. But we'll give you a little bit of a story. And then we'll do the thing. Okay. I thought I gave you the story here. I didn't. Oh, yeah, right there. 31% of Canadians believe that we haven't been to the moon. So, what does this mean? This. If we were to ask all Canadians, and again, now we know, just so you know here. Usually we don't know, but I want to show you if we know, and I want to show you how this works. Hey, have we been to the moon? Yes. 69% of Canadians will say yes. 31% of Canadians will say, no, we haven't been to the moon. Okay. Now let me do a sample. It's going to be important where I take the sample. If I go to a Star Trek convention, I say, have we been to the moon? Oh yeah, you're going to get close to 100%. So that's not a representative. Again, I'm taking the population. I've got a true random sample. I should get 31%. How big of a sample size do I need so that that 31% is captured 95% of the time? Turns out that the sample size that I need when I plug in everything, I'm going to show you this. 31% is the yes, 69% is the no, 4% is the plus or minus 4 that we talked about. Where's this coming in? 1.96. Well, I'm not using the table, we're going to use Excel. Has anybody heard of the central limit theorem? Okay. Good news is, when we take a sample, if we take a distribution of the sample, it turns out that it'll be normal. What does that mean? So, I take a sample, and now it's going to be important. This is always going to be a sample of, remember this is the minimum size, so I need to sample 514 people. If I take this sample of 514, it'll look something like this. It'll be centered at 31%, and again, we know the true population here is 31. It'll be centered here. And by the central limit theorem, when we plot all our distributions, so we do it thousands and thousands of time, it becomes normal, centered at 31%. Is it possible that we take a sample and we miss? Of course, right? We could go way over here, get really unlucky in the sample, and we'll be too high. Or we could go really here and we can miss it too low. But if we take a sample of size 514 and the population really believes 31%, we're going to capture it 95% of the time. So to show you this, I've got a spreadsheet, which I'm going to release now. So open this up so you can follow along with me. Let me just open the spreadsheet so people download it and then you'll ask us the question. Let's go to Content, Week 3. It's called Cochrane. So when you open it up, it looks like this. So I actually have 514 samples here. So again, this is using the thing here, 514, and yes or no. So 31%. Choose a random number. Well, wait, let's ask the question. Go ahead. What's that? 14. Yeah.
but the number was 100. Point something else. So when you have point something else,
Okay, good question. So this is a great question. Question was, hey, I took the minimum sample size, it was 513. Well, I can't sample 0.5% of the time. Since it's the minimum, I always have to round up. Always round up because it has to be greater than. So 513 would break it here. It'd be very close. For most intents and purposes, but you always round up. So it'd actually be a little bit higher than 95%. Okay, so you got 514. Now, what's going on with this 95? Oh, I told you that it turns out to be, when you do the sample, it turns out to be a normal distribution. So I want to miss it. I want to have a type 1 error 5% of the time. I could be too high or I could be too low. So I'm going to set my type 1 errors here at a certain distance. Now again, it's not really a stats class. We're going to do this on the standard normal distribution. Once we do it on the standard normal distribution, and we need to figure out what, this has to be 95%, which means that the amount that goes into the tails is 5%, which means that it's 2.5% here and 2.5% here. How do I figure out the Z value, which is on the standard normal, for 2.5%? I have no idea what you're talking about. That's okay. That's what the internet is for. I'm just showing you the sample size here. How we figure it out is we're going to use Excel. So I figure out the Z right here. So what I did is I basically said, okay, if I have 2.5% in tail, that is going to spit out a number. That Z value that it spits out is 1.96. Good to 4 decimal places. So that's my Z. The P we have, 31. The 1 minus P is 69. The 4% is what we chose. You plug all that in, and it spits out an N value of, and I round it up here, to 514. So now what I did is I take 514 samples. You'll get into this in prescriptive as well. This is just to show you. I choose a random number between 1 and 100. If it's 31 or less, then you don't believe we've been to the moon. If it's above 31, you believe we've been to the moon. That's how the 1 and the 0 is assigned. And what happens is then I take, so the population, we know is 31%. Here it finds it at 33% for this sample. So when I do the lower limit and the upper limit on that 33, I get 29 and 37. Does that include 31? Yeah. So this sample, it caught it. Let me do it again. So to run it again, you just hit F9. Another sample, and still it's in. So I'm going to keep going. I'm fine. It was 95%. It finally missed. So if I were to run this 100 times, this experiment, I would expect 95% of the time that sample size that I use will capture it. But here, you see that I actually got a result of 35.79. When I did the upper and the lower limits, it went to 31 and 39, it missed it. That's my type 1 error. Should happen 5% of the time. So this is a visual demonstration of what's going on with the sample size. Again, remember, as soon as you do your sample, it'll either be in there or won't be in there. If you run this over and over again, 95%. What if I wanted okay, there was another no, okay, good. We do this, go on. What if I wanted to be more confident? If I want to be more confident, so I don't want to be at 95%, I want to be at 99%, what will happen to my confidence interval? Will it increase or will it decrease? So I want to be more confident, because I said, hey, I'm going to screw this up 5% of the time. And I'm saying, hey, that's a little too much. I really want to be confident. Let's make it so that, and again, everything else is the same. I'm going to be plus or minus 4%. It'll screw up, but I don't want it to screw up 5% of the time. I want it to screw up 1% of the time. What will happen to my confidence interval? Will it increase or will it decrease? Okay, let's see. So remember, right now I have it at 95. Let me set it to 99. Because 99 means you'll screw up only one, you have a type 1 error 1% of the time. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, it didn't change the confidence interval. I'm leaving it at 4%. What I said is I want 99% confidence. What did it change? Some change on that. When I went to 99%, no. The Z changed, but what did it end up spitting out now?
Sample size.
Yeah, did it get bigger or smaller? Way bigger. Why did it get bigger? Because the bigger I take of the sample, the harder it's going to be to miss, right? The more people that I survey, the harder it is that I can end up in one of the tails. So now it went from 514 to 888. If I use 888 samples, I'm only going to miss, I'm not going to capture it 1% of the time. If, on the other hand, I want to say, you know what, I don't need to be 95%, this is not really an important question, maybe only 90%, then the sample size will be, it'll be lower. I don't know what it'll be exactly, you'd have to put it into the formula. 362. If I change my error, so now I don't want to be plus or minus 4%. What if I wanted to be plus or minus 2%? Would my sample size go up or would it go down? Well, I don't know, let's see. I'll go back to 95 so that we get to our baseline. Say 514. Now I'm saying, hey, I don't want to be plus or minus 4. I want to be plus or minus 2. So that's an error of 2% in either way. Goes way up. Way up. Because now I have to shrink the distribution, so I need to go bigger up, right? So you can play around with this. The most important point here, as I'm wrapping up, is the type 1, type 2 errors. Type 1 is a false positive. That means that we got to the alternate, but we got there incorrectly. How do we choose it? Well, we're free to choose it however we want. In this case, it was 5%. Given plus or minus the error limits, we have to get a certain sample size. That's where we're going to 1 minus P are assumed, and the error, we get to choose that. Now, what if I had no idea? Let's go back to how we started the problem. 95% plus or minus 4. But I don't know it at all. What sample size should I choose? So I don't know 31%, I have no idea what it is. What sample size should I choose so that the minimum sample size, so that I capture it plus or minus 4%? This is a good question. I don't want to answer it today. I'll answer it in the next class. In fact, I'll probably start with this. But think about it. Okay, you don't know anything about the population. Nothing. So 31% you don't know. It could be 2%, it could be 53%, it could be 9%. You have no idea what it is. but you want to come up with a minimum sample size so that plus or minus 4% will get captured 95% of the time. What sample size could I use to ensure that'll happen? The minimum sample size that I can use to ensure that'll happen. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll take up, I'll probably start that with the next class, and then we'll get into R. So next week, we'll get into R, so make sure to download R Studio and R itself. And I'm going to release that media mix model now, so if you want to take a quick look at it, again, so plug it into ChatGPT, it'll give you an answer like that, and it'll be right. Try to work on this. So I'll release that now. Okay, it's called Relax and Enjoy. It's released. What does it look like? Looks like this. You're trying to fix the right media mix. I would use Excel. And however you come up with it, so next week, that'd be good too. Give me an answer. What did you come up with? And again, if you looked it up, don't tell me, because that'll give me the optimal solution. I want to know what you guys came up with as a group. Okay, so that's all the material that I want to cover today. Any questions or comments? Okay. So we do have a few minutes, which is good. If you have the fourth member of the group, you can come up now and I can add that fourth member in. So that's the thing, make sure that you belong to a group. If you're the fourth member, come in, I'll add them manually. What else do we need to do? Oh, R in our studio. Next week we'll get into R. And in terms of the quiz one, module 1, not module 3, the sample size and all that. That's stuff that it's not going to be covered on the first quiz. I do have office hours today. So my office hours will be from 12:30 to 1:30 on the 4th floor. So if you're too shy to ask a question in front of everybody, you can come up and ask me a question on the 4th floor. Let's see who's in it. Okay, hold on. Make sure you're not there. So I've got Antonio, Miguel, and Nicholas.
Well, I read the lips in the TV, so I don't know.
今天好多新同学，跟上次课同学还不太一样呢。新来了很多新的。炸毛了。
The first one was I thought Marshall was starting. And also the penalty.
怎么又是阴天？外面，看外面吧。
The statistic. Yeah. I don't know that much about
谢谢小点心加入我们的粉丝团。
all the penalties. Just take it. That's it. Just in care of things and
火了，怎么生火了？
yes. And Mbappe, everything. Mbappe, Haaland, always.
早上我还记错时间了，然后今天10点半上课，我以为10点15分，我还以为跟上学期的课一样，害得我很赶。结果来了之后没有，发现他们都没来。当然听不懂啊，谁听得懂啊？都得靠 GPT， 一边分析一边听。
So the issue that I have, and this is what I'm trying to avoid, is I've got group 6. Right now, group 6 needs another number. So I'm going to pause until group 6 gets the third member. Once group 6 gets the third member, I will fill the other position. But I need all groups to be at least before I start another. And I have group 2. Who is?
这会儿在讲啥呀？拉起来吧，光刺眼。
These are nice people. Somebody go talk to them, join the group. We need a third person in that group, and then I will fill the
考试通过了就行，然后你每天来上课，然后认真完成老师布置的作业，然后你的 quiz， 然后通过，应该可以拿毕业证。想看教授吗？给你们看一下前面。Professor。Do you want to try? QQ candy, Chinese candy. It's good. When I was a child, I like this candy. 印度人和巴西人挺多的，巴西的也多。上厕所。对啊，大家帮我点个关注可以吗？大家帮主播点点关注。这洗手间。下课了。等下节课上，看下节课啥？迷你刚才。哦，下一个上那个视觉化 ，warehousing， 我最漂亮，哇哦，谢谢。那可以给我2个灯牌吗？厕所。你那儿等一下，我上个厕所吧。来这，我要去厕所。
Oh, you're already in? Perfect. So everybody here is in a group?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. I have these announcements. We are done. If you want to speak to me, I will be on the fourth floor. Have a great week, and I'll see you on Monday.
So we were changing this classroom. Which one? Let me see.
1 hour.
Oh, 1 hour. Oh my god. So that's why a lot of the classmates don't choose maybe. So you go home or要换教室了？不会吧？新教室在哪儿啊？要换教室？哦，要去4楼了，442。不是说他们为什么动来动去？我还以为他们要走了。等晚下呢 ，today 442。Sorry, go to this classroom now. Now eat something. 反正我还不饿，我喝了点奶茶。我去哪儿？我去教室吧，反正没事儿。
I tried to read the AWS, but
奶茶扔了。现在第2节课去找教室。
So that's our studio.
Hello.
Once you are, then you are.
Professor, you have a calendar. I thought you were but you don't have access at all.
No, I was here. Oh, Brazil.
来解。So now we're going to be changing the room.
We have another class in 1 hour.
1 hour later.
1:30.
Oh my god.
1:30 to 3:30. That's all.
不是太久。Okay. I go to the new room. 现在我先去教室吧，我不想回家。回了家，然后又要走过来，好累，很累。我先去教室，坐电梯走。走楼梯的，楼梯是不可能走的，不想去吃的，上了课再吃。嘿。Hi. Good. Oh, no the work? Okay. Do you want? Okay. 这电梯。